Now they say the flower that blooms in adversity is the most rare and beautiful of all. I used to think that was just something you said to ugly people to make them feel better about themselves. But now, I'm not so sure. You see, I've been playing Grim Dawn in hardcore mode, knee deep in adversity. Hardcore mode means permadeath, one life and one death. You die and it's over, your character is gone, just like real life. Except with monsters and swords and loot and stuff. And okay, so it's nothing at all like real life, but I thought it might make for a nice introduction for those unfamiliar with the topic. In hardcore mode, every moment is adversity. Every moment is a chance to meet death. And conversely, every moment is a chance to meet life, enjoy it, and maybe learn something about yourself. There are no second chances, there are no do-overs, no mulligans. So if you had one shot or one opportunity to seize everything in one moment, would you capture it or just let it slip? How would you play? Would you go high risk, high reward and play offensively because no monster can harm you if it's already dead, right? Or would you use a safer strategy, emphasizing defense, playing slowly and staying alive at all costs? Games aren't supposed to be like this, I thought. They're supposed to be fun and make me feel good about myself, not all dark and depressing, making me think about my life choices. Mom, the game's making me think again. I paid $5 for this game, and now it's making me want to think? Ugh. That's not fair. That's not how consumerism is supposed to work. I'm supposed to pay my money and then I get the pleasure of switching off my brain for a few hours. The sweet mind-numbing bliss of a financial transaction. An endless cycle of trading money for pleasure. I earn a coin for suffering at my job and then I give that coin to my corporate overlord who solves my problems for me and makes me feel good until the next time I feel bad. Then I trade my next coin over and over in an endless cycle of products, each one designed to solve my next problem and fill a hole in my empty life. Buy product and you can show off to your friends and talk about product with your friends. You have friends, right? Get excited for next product and you can talk about that with your friends. See? Friends are good, right? What would you and your friends talk about without our product? Relationships? Family? Meaning? No, just talk about product. It's much easier. Do you see all the ways we help you out? Your life would be boring without us. It would be meaningless. You're paying for the opportunity to feel alive and feel a connection with the other people who bought product. Oh, you haven't bought product? Oh, okay. You haven't lived yet, you pleb. You must buy product. Product is life. You must buy for the greater good. The greater good. Yeah, that's how financial transactions are supposed to go. But not this game. No, this game was making me think and plan and read and learn. Wait, learn? Are you saying I spent 17 years in education just to have to learn more stuff? About armor and swords and monsters and potions and... Hang on, wait, this actually sounds kind of fun. What game is it again? Grim Dawn. A gritty, dark action RPG with a Victorian era setting and gameplay reminiscent of old school Diablo. But what sets it apart from other games in its genre is the class system. At level 2, every player can pick a class, called a mastery, and at level 10 they can pick a second mastery, creating a dual class, a unique mix of its own two masteries. With 6 masteries to choose from in the base game, and 9 with all DLC installed, that means you can pick from a total of 15 and 36 different classes respectively, rising to 35 and 45 for those who choose to only specialise in a single mastery. That's a lot of choice, and a lot of replayability, especially considering that each mastery has several different damage dealing skills, and also different damage types that they can specialise in. One of my friends has over 1,000 hours on Steam, but has never played through all 3 difficulties to beat even the base game on Ultimate, nor has he got any single character to max level, simply because he loves to experiment so much with the different classes. The downside of this multitude of damage types is that they will all kill you pretty quickly unless you stack some resistances against them, and with so many damage types, that means you have to manage a lot of resistances to stay alive. fire, cold, lightning, poison and acid, pierce, bleed, vitality, aether, stun, chaos, and physical, to name the most important ones. With so many potential classes, stats, damage types, resistances to keep track of, you will die pretty quickly if you don't know what you're doing, especially in your early stages with the game, when you don't know how to decipher each damage icon and you receive very little feedback about what's killing you. To put it simply, your resistances are very important in this game, and you will die fast unless you actively seek out gear and equipment to increase them. It's no wonder only 2/3 of players reach level 10, and those numbers drop off to 50% when we look at those who have even just killed the first boss at the end of Act 1. This drops off even further to 6.4% for those who have played the game to its conclusion on its hardest difficulty. Now, when we look at hardcore modes, only 0.7% of players have beaten the game on ultimate difficulty, and only 0.4% have gotten the most difficult hardcore achievements. That's 4 in 1,000 people. That's Gigachad levels of skill. No, that's Sigma male levels of skill. How many females would I need to disregard in order to achieve a level of that magnitude? I pulled out my calculator as I felt the swell of the bagpipes rise up in my soul. 2 plus 2, carry the 1, something else math related. The number was so high it crashed my calculator. Those damn elves, I bet they had something to do with this. Given how many times I'd already died in this game, even after investing hours of learning and practice, still I was making mistakes over and over and dying over and over. There was no way I could reach this level of Sigma maleness. It was inconceivable for me to get all those hardcore achievements. 4 in 1,000 people, that's not great odds. But maybe, with enough practice and the right playlist, maybe I could do it. Certainly not with skill and fast twitch reactions. Those are not my strengths. No, I would need to use my brain and arm myself with knowledge of the game. Yeah, careful planning would be my sword, mindful preparation my shield, and meticulous testing my second sword, I guess? Yeah, well, one thing at a time. Playing safely, moving slowly, focusing on the moment. Yeah, that's the Sigma male grind set. I could do this. Maybe. 4 in 1,000?
So you're telling me there's a chance?
A hero. Alone. Armed with a chance. A small chance. To stand up against the monsters of the Grim Dawn. And tell the God of Death. Not today. If you're new here, let me bring you up to speed quickly on the challenge so far. Everything had been going well for about 20 hours. I had made a build that was keeping me safe with high health, high resistances, and high armor. It kept me safe enough that I could afford to make a few mistakes without getting punished too hard. And it kept me safe enough to fight back death for a few more hours. I had beaten the game on its first and second difficulties and had just begun my journey on the hardest difficulty, the one that we need to beat in order to unlock all of the game's hardcore achievements and ascend to true Gigachad status. You've been along for this journey over the last couple of weeks or so. I don't know how to explain exactly what happens in this video. I tried my best, I really did, but we're all human and we all make mistakes. Sometimes you let yourself down and you're not really the person that you thought you were, and you're not capable of doing the things that you thought you could. In the last couple of months since releasing Act 1 of this run, my channel has doubled in size. It took me 4 years to get 70 subscribers, and then just 6 weeks to double it. The Act 1 video is close to becoming the most viewed video on my channel. To put that into perspective, it's gained almost the same amount of views in 6 weeks that my most viewed video took 2.5 years to gain. But come on, let's keep things grounded here, because you can all see my view count and you can all see my sub count. They're far from notable. However, it's all notable to me. That's why what happens in this video is all the more painful to watch. I feel like I've let you lads down. I feel like I let myself down. I feel like I've strayed from the values that were important to me. I can handle not living up to other people's expectations, but I can't handle not living up to my own. With all the groundwork done in normal and elite, ultimate is really a breeze at first. We have a damage dealing ability with range and AoE so we can handle the large packs that ultimate throws at us. We have high survivability so we can go toe to toe with the tougher elites and bosses while barely taking a scratch. We're keeping our gear level relevant and filling in any gaps in our resistances with components and augments. We have a kiting strategy. We hold enemies at choke points in order to maximize our damage dealt and minimize our damage taken. All of this gets tested with a separate character to look for weak points in the build and improve on them. Everything's going well and working out as I had planned. Yes, I'm cognizant of Theoden Marcel, Korvac and the Shattered Realms, but only so much in the way that you can be cognizant of your vacation ending while still on day one. They are very real threats on the distant horizon that will have to be dealt with when the time comes, but that time is not now. Now is the time when we can stand still and force wave Krieg. At this point, I am euphoric and sailing on a wave built on the satisfaction of seeing an idea born into fruition. A wave built on having a plan and carrying it out successfully. And I should be honest, a wave built on top of my own grandiose self-image. Praying that today won't be another one of those -1 days that punctuate normality in the endless grind of no real feelings. Blunt and alone, isolated from other people. A dark day, devoid of any humour, warmth, love. A day when not even Milan can bring me any tears. But maybe today I'm the chosen one. Maybe today I'm not just another grey NPC. But today, here in Act 1, running through Krieg's minions, today I am someone. Someone capable of forming a plan and following through. Someone capable of solving problems and deriving meaning from my actions. Krieg, the representation of an evil to be vanquished. A harbinger of death coming from my friends at Devil's Crossing. But not today, Krieg. Not today. Today we bring an end to your reign in Burrich. Today we stand still and force wave you till there's nothing left but your glorious loot. However, the bad signs are starting to show with Cronley. Look how quickly our health dips. Look how long we need to bravely run away and heal. Something isn't right here. But onward we go. There is more work to be done today. Look how far our health dips downwards in a swan dive straight into the depths of despair. Again we seem to spend more and more time bravely running away. We can no longer stand and face these monsters, force waving them down until nothing remains. In the Pine Barrens, things brighten up a little as Megara falls. As Bloodbriar falls. As the Gloomweaver falls. As the Tyrant falls. Our enemies crushed, driven before us, hearing the lamentations of their women. But why are things looking so sketchy? So far we've been able to stand up to these enemies, and now we're doing low damage in long drawn out fights while taking chunks out of our health. Something's wrong, but my arrogance blinds it from me. Ha, I've tested all this. I know what I'm doing, I say to myself. I'll prove them wrong. Today I'm the chosen one. I'll restore balance to the force. I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating and it gets everywhere. Just like the chaos damage from Zarya. Oh, what a fool I am. But down she goes. And Karos. Nothing can stop this build now. Right? Still on top of my preparations, I farm Cronleys for reputation with Devil's Crossing to get access to Cairn's Hope and add 15% health regen to our rings and amulets. That should fix things, right? That'll make everything better. We buy them like an addict looking for their next fix, wasting precious resources on a problem that's far too complicated to be solved simply by opioids. Act 4 goes, well, how Act 4 normally goes. A straight run to the necropolis in Logorian. We arrive at Fort Icon as expected. Take on Archon Bartholom as expected. Stand still. Force wave. Dodge the Aether Rain attack. Lucius goes down as expected. We cut through the Fields of Strife. Cut through the necropolis. First hardcore achievement done. Immortal Legend. Reach level 85 in hardcore mode. Guardian of the Gates goes down. Eventually. And here's where I start to get worried. Bloodlord Thelonous is where I had my first death on my test character. However, I knew why that death happened. It could be summed up in one reason. I was getting lazy. Up until now, I had been planning my run for each act, playing through first on my test character, then recording Emmeline's run. And now, after 7 weeks of standing still and force waving on 2 separate playthroughs back to back, I was getting a little frustrated and became careless with my testing. I had now resorted to running through areas on my test character, so now I wasn't leveling as high, I wasn't finding as good gear, and I had lower reputation. The idea of farming rep on both characters did not appeal to me at this point. The death to Thelonious on my test character didn't surprise me too much, but I would be lying if I said it didn't scare me. I had figured this fight would go well with Emmeline, because unlike my test character, we had been upgrading gear, resistances and augments from the start to the finish. And the battle went fine. I was thankful to just get this dungeon over with, because I'd already ran it twice on my test character before this. Now Logorian was a little tougher than Elite. We had to use more health potions and more bravely running away from the AoE blood pool attack. But other than that, we stood still, introducing the beast to our force wave of friendship, gaining our second hardcore achievement in the process, Immortal Savior. Complete the base game in hardcore mode. 2 down and 9 to go. Well, that's what I was aiming for anyway. And here's where I make my next big mistake. I completely abandoned the idea of my test character. I stopped playing ahead of Emmeline's run. I hate admitting this, but I was so close to finishing this run. And stupidly, I just wanted to save a little time. But the build seemed to be working, or so I told myself, so onward I pushed into Ugdenbog in Malmeth. It really seemed to be working. Down goes Caraxes. Down goes Nax and Shade. With a lot of kiting. Already here you can see that we have no chance. No chance of standing still and force waving anymore. We can't stand in the AoE for long without taking a lot of damage. Somehow I was blind to the alarm bells that were going off here. Shar'Zul goes down, but look at how often we hit 50% health. Something isn't working. At this point I'd invested so much time into Emmeline in this run that I just kept pushing forward, disregarding all the warning signs. And with my test character stuck back at 4 icon, there was no more advance warning of what was coming up. Our ability to deal with mobs is slow, but still okay, as long as we have space to fall back into and regen some health. I wonder if that will become relevant later. Bolag goes okay, and our health regen build seems to be working again. Mobs we can handle. Bosses one-on-one we can handle. That should be enough, right? The fight for the resistance base goes well and we begin cutting our way through the streets of Malmeth. We deal with the city mobs, mostly okay. Fleshweaver Haraxis gives us a bit of trouble. But we destroy the vents. And down goes Krieg. There is just a couple of guardians standing between us and our next achievement. Now I know Theoden's going to be a tough fight, I'm not completely stupid. So I port out and do some preparations. I had originally planned to clear up to Theoden, then clear Forgotten Gods up to Korvac, on both my test character and Emmeline. Then test some builds and find something safe and effective to deal with both bosses. But I did not. Instead, I entered the fight. Right here, right now. And that's when it happened. I'm struggling to deal with Theoden's first form. Struggling to keep up with the damage coming in. Struggling to keep up with the mobs spawning in. Struggling to deal with my life. Is this how it ends? How did it end up like this? What do I have to show for it? A dead character and countless wasted hours. A disgrace to my audience. A disgrace to the Grim Dawn community. And worst of all, a disgrace to myself. How did it end up like this? Oh yeah, I got lazy. Right. If you have anything terribly important to say to Emmeline, I suggest you say it now.
Not like this.
And that's when it happens. It's not going to end like this. I take control of my life. Escape, return to the main menu. We live to fight another day. I know, it's a cheesy way to get out of an unwinnable situation that I got myself into. Could I have beat Theoden? I think it's possible that I could have. What do you think? I had set out to complete all hardcore achievements without having to rely on skill. There's no way I could stand and face tank Theoden. Maybe I could have beat him, but it would have been against the spirit of this playthrough. My build's not working. What do I do now? All these wasted hours of my time making this build, writing the scripts, editing the videos, not to mention all your wasted time watching and getting invested in someone who's too lazy to even test out his own ideas. Needless to say, I was disheartened, beaten, and not just by the game, but by my own stupidity and laziness. Yes, Emmeline was alive, but my inner life was not. Well, time to quit and salvage what's left of this playthrough, I guess. Maybe we can't get all 11 hardcore achievements, but if we can't beat Malmouth, Forgotten Gods and the Shattered Realms, then at least I can beat the challenge dungeons. On Elite. Yeah, it's not a great achievement, but it's something. So I play on. Down goes Alkamos for Immortal Executioner. Down goes Van Aldritch for Immortal Vanquisher of Valbury. Down goes Shar'Zul for Immortal Conqueror of Chaos. Down goes Gargabol for Immortal Wild Tamer. Down goes Morganeth for Immortal Light in the Dark. Although that fight was pretty risky and I probably should have only played it on normal. But I have some momentum again. Even if I can't beat Korvac, let's at least clear Forgotten Gods up to his arena. And then I can quit and just upload this video dressing it as some kind of YouTube apology video. You know, dressed in some oversized hoodie, sighing. Talking about how I'm taking accountability for my actions and discovering more about myself and how I really need to do better.
Yes, that will do.
That should be enough to please my plebeian audience and keep them watching my content like some mindless many from System Shock, doing the bidding of their YouTube personality Overlord.
How dare you, insect?
I'll tell them what to think and how to feel with some corporatized stock music and catchy images, get them ready to consume my branding, my next product, unthinkingly supporting my Patreon because that's what good sheep do. Yes, dance, monkey, dance. Do my bidding, consume product, get excited for next product, because treating people like gullible fools is what you're supposed to do, right? It's current year. You should all be supporting the current thing in current year, like a bunch of mindless drones, eking out a desperate, lonely life, starved of any real human contact and connection. Your only real feelings of belonging are achieved from going along with the other puppets, controlled from the top down by a system designed to keep you lonely and unhappy, every day looking to fill the void with whatever nonsense product that's being developed. Watches, tablets, phones. When was the last time you nodded to a stranger and said good morning? Was it today? Yesterday? Last week? Never? You're a real human being and a real hero, and you deserve more than that. So let's continue with Emmeline. Kaiman gets a little dicey at the end of the fight, but it goes relatively well. However, now I'm stuck. We still have 4 achievements left. Complete Ashes of Malmouth by killing Theoden Marcel, We need to complete Forgotten Gods by killing Korvac. We need to complete the 25th Shard of the Shattered Realms on Ultimate. And we need to hit level 100. The latter we don't need to worry about, because if we have a build that can do the 3 former, then level 100 will take care of itself. So now what do? Yeah, I could quit, and that was my first thought. Just end the series and finish work on one of the other game critiques that I've started. That certainly sounded appealing to me at the time. Sometimes quitting is the right thing to do, but other times it's easy to persuade yourself that quitting is the right thing to do. What I end up doing is sinking back into unnamed destructive behaviours over New Year. Eventually though, the same questions arise. Who am I? Why am I here? And I don't know. But I don't think I'll find out just sitting around feeling sorry for myself like this. And even if I never find out, let's at least finish what I started, because somewhere deep down, I know I'm capable of this, and I know that you deserve to see this. So I search out some other build themes. I tried out one idea based around damage shield devotions. Yeah, I only made it to Shard 3 and had to quit out to the main menu again. Maybe if I'd picked Warder, or farmed for the Avenger set, then a health regen build might work. Do I want to re-roll, pick Warder, and start all this over again? No, not right now anyway. Do I want to farm totems for hours and hope of the Avenger blueprint? Nope. So what other choices are left? Maybe it's time to say goodbye to two-handed weapons. Damage mitigation that comes with taking a shield would certainly help us to stay alive a little longer. But our damage output would be even lower with the Force Wave of Friendship. With the higher density mobs in Shattered Realms and the boss fights, it's getting more and more difficult to funnel enemies into the cone of Force Wave. If only there was a way we could equip a shield, and also use an attack that deals damage to all enemies surrounding us. If only there was an ability that we could max, that would need less points than Force Wave, giving us more left over to put into shield skills. And then it hits me. Blitz. Okay, interesting. How much farming do we need to do for that? Milton Heart's Cask, got it on my first try. Warden's Fortress in Act 1, got it on my third try. Bloodbriar Amulet, got it on the first try. Bargol's Root, well, we can just buy that from the Ancient Grove. And I already had a Wendigo Glare from Ashes of Malmouth. Right, Blitz's main attack, okay. Bloodbriar Amulet gives us a fast cooldown, then Righteous Fervour as a filler default attack, and 2 damage mitigation abilities in the form of Overguard and Ascension. Okay, this might just work. I had used this build before on Ultimate, but I died quite a lot, mostly due to rushing and not being prepared gear and resistance wise. But with the gear and resistance prep work that we'd done so far, adding Blitz on top of this should work. I hope. It consists of holding down the Righteous Fervour button as a filler, then pressing the Blitz button when it comes off cooldown, keeping our damage mitigation abilities up whenever they come off cooldown as well. So that's 4 buttons, it's only 1 extra compared to what I was using before, but with the added bonus of effectively circular AoE damage around our character, so funneling enemies into the hot gates is not as important as it was before. 4 buttons and less movement, yeah, I think I can do this. I'll link Wrecked by Protoss in the description. He's got a great playlist. It's got some of the best advice I've seen for this kind of build. Actually, he pretty much gives the best advice on, nearly every build. More than likely you're already aware of who he is and you know about his deep knowledge of the game already. Okay, wow, what an idiot. I've just realised that I had none of my passives active in this fight. But that's how powerful this build is. We win easily, yeah, kind of, with no passives. Seriously though, I'm an idiot. If I can beat Thade and Marcel with no passives, no ointments, no skill, I think you'll manage it just fine, lads. Seriously though, Cenavras, man. Wow. No passives. Jeez, mate. What is wrong with you? And there it is, Immortal Saviour of Malmouth. On to Korvac, 3 achievements left to go. Cenavras, passives, activate them. Well done, mate, well remembered. Eventually. I also took pretty much every ointment possible. Phase 1 is fine, focus on dodging the rockfall attack. Phase 2 is tricky, but with this build we can do damage on the mobs, the crystal, and Korvac without worrying too much about positioning. Phase 3 is doing damage and bravely running away when things get scary. Again, if you have any skill with this boss and his attacks, you'll do much better than me, and it will feel even easier than this. And there it is, Immortal Celestial Conqueror. 2 left, so we make the Resonating Waystone and teleport straight into SR20. Off camera I'd already completed up to SR20 on Elite, so all we need to do is complete Shard 20 to 25 on Ultimate to unlock Immortal Shattered Vanquisher. If you have a build that can beat Korvac, then beating SR25 is relatively simple. Just take your time, clear areas completely before you move on so you have a safe space to fall back into. Take your time, just let the timer run out, it doesn't affect the achievement. Oh, and keep an eye out for arcanes who can remove your passive buffs. I've tried watching out for the attack in order to dodge it, but I struggle spotting it. Hey, most of the time I struggle to see where my mouse cursor is on the screen. So I pretty much just let them remove my buffs, then kite backwards into a space where it's safe to reactivate them. It's not pretty, but it's repeatable, it's safe, and it works for me. If you have a build that is a bit more reliant on passives, then that approach may not be the best. You can see it's slow progress but steady. We pick up every soul that drops because it might mean that we can skip fighting a powerful elite later and still lessen the risk of our character dying. In boss arenas, try as much as possible to pull them one at a time and fight them somewhere where you won't aggro the other bosses. Finishing Shard 20, Emmeline hits level 100 and unlocks the Monomythic Centennial achievement. From here, all we have to do is carefully repeat the same process for 5 more shards, which should only take around 20 minutes. Just be careful and take your time, you'll be fine. And so it comes down to this, our last boss arena. Edging forward to pull the Guardian of Bismail, I'm surprised by Gutworm of all people, who aggroes Emmeline instead. Gutworm, our first real challenge, all the way back in Act 1 normal game. Our first real experience of being outmatched and being forced to bravely run away. And now he's one of the last things that stands between Emmeline and her last achievement. The last thing standing between us and our goals. Well, we're not running away from Gutworm now. Okay, we're running away a little bit, but not too much. And down he goes. At this point, I wish this game had a crouch button for, yeah, obvious reasons.
You like apples?
Next boss. Easy, down he goes with no thought on our part. Our last boss. Carax's Foul proves to be a bit tougher, hitting us with poison damage and spawning in reinforcements, but down he goes. And there it is, Immortal Shattered Vanquisher, our last hardcore achievement. What a journey. We did it. We did it well. But like I said, I don't have much skill at this game, so if I can do it this easily, I'm sure you can do a much better job than I can. The video's over and Emmeline has come a long way after being saved from the noose by Bourbon and Sedina. A long way from running out of Devil's Crossing for the first time, looking for Havel's greatsword and a way to fight back against the Grim Dawn. And it's been a long journey for me too. A long way from having the idea to do this, gather the software I need to make it happen, spend hours planning the character, planning the run, writing the script, recording the audio, editing the video. And I'm not quite sure exactly what I've done. It's been an interesting journey for my channel. I've never had videos be this well received before. In the course of 6 weeks, I've doubled my subscriber count and gained more interaction on this series than I've ever had for any other series in 5 years. I find myself wondering, what was it that I did? What was the magic formula I hit that made this series so successful? What did I do differently this time that I wasn't doing before? I can answer some of those questions for certain. I've planned things out better. I've gone into this series with a laser-like focus of what I wanted to achieve, planned out the quickest, most efficient way to achieve it, and stuck with that plan, even when I was tested and wanted to give up. I spent hours writing a, hopefully, entertaining and helpful script, hitting all the major points I wanted to make, and all the other important points that came up along the way. Is that what this has been about? Having a plan and working hard to see it through into fruition? I don't know. All I can be sure of is that there are far more things that I don't know than there are things that I do know. Anytime I can pull one of those unknown things into the known realm is an achievement for me. Life is a constant series of pulling things from the unknown into the known realm over and over again. Each one imperceptible on its own, but each one adding up over time, hinting towards a bigger picture, casting more and more light over an object too big to comprehend all at once. All we can ever see is a tiny slice that nudges us in the side, winks and whispers to us that what we're looking for is just over there. If only we could open our eyes just a little more and see things for what they really are. Suffering and satisfaction are both two sides of the same coin, a coin that we can trade for a glimpse at these unknowable things, two vital parts of life we have to go through in order to be complete. Each one is valid as the other. A life without either suffering or satisfaction is no life at all. The satisfaction of achieving a goal means nothing without the suffering that led up to it. Aimbotting and wall hacking can give you the wins that you're looking for in CSGO, but without the suffering and sacrifice of practice and learning through losses, those wins will be hollow of satisfaction. When the goal becomes more important than the journey that led to it, that's when cheating and corruption give birth to the dirty behaviour that ultimately leads to a hollow victory. As vital as suffering is to satisfaction, so too is satisfaction vital to suffering. Putting yourself through hollow suffering by itself is no virtue at all. Satisfaction can give you a reason to suffer, but suffering alone offers no inherent reason to endure its trials. Suffering alone for no reason is an awful position to be in, and even worse is when you're suffering for someone else's satisfaction. But you can take control of your life and make a plan. Remove yourself from situations where you are suffering needlessly with no payoff. You were meant for more than that. You were meant to turn suffering into satisfaction. You were made to use adversity to improve the world around you. Your suffering belongs to you. Take it on willingly in the service of your great ideas, and reject suffering that is given to you by anyone without your consent. No is a complete sentence. Ask yourself who you are, what you stand for, and what you are here to do. If you do not have answers to those questions, one will be provided for you by your family, your social circle, big tech, corporations, the government, and it's likely that the answers they provide will not be in your best interests. You will buy our product. You will support the current thing. You will dance for our amusement. So examine your thoughts and your character. Refuse to take on any suffering that you did not ask for. Resist their attempts to make you suffer for causes that you don't believe in. And above all, learn how to say no and how to say yes. Learn the power of those two words. We are led to think that one of those words is positive and one is negative. One opens up new experiences and one that closes doors, making your life empty. But those two words are far more complicated than that, and they should be used with care. Saying yes to one thing ultimately means saying no to others, and vice versa. How do you know when to use each one? How do you know when to say yes to an idea and suffer until it comes to completion? How do you know when to say no and refuse to suffer for someone or something that does not care whether you live or die? The truth is, I don't know. But I'm having fun finding out. And I'm nowhere near finished.